Hey YouTube, how's it going? So today I did something a little different on this video. Today, what I did is I called in to the Transatlantic Call-In Show, where it's a whole bunch of transgenders and they discuss the transgender issue. And today, I called in as respectful as I could so the conversation would last longer. And I tried to measure my words a lot. That way it wouldn't have to go to a heated situation. I wanted to keep the conversation honest, as nice as possible, if you can put it that way. Just an honest conversation, an honest disagreement. That's what I called in for. And surprisingly or not, they did not get as offended as Matt. Matt Dillahunt gets more offended when you bring up this transgender issue than the actual transgenders. So it's like when white people get more offended about racism than black people. Kind of like that. SJWs tend to do this all the time with every single topic. Anyways, like I said, I called in to have an honest disagreement with these people. And how I did it is I put I'm going to show you guys because I recorded my side because they muted me a lot and I knew that they were going to do it. So I recorded my side so you can see exactly what I said. And then I'm going to play their clip too, just side by side. But I'm going to show you, this is what I had to do. I had to, since I was calling with my phone and I just had my iPad there, I had to put my big ass iPad right there on the dashboard just to record this conversation. Like I said, I knew they were going to delete me so much, and I went back on the video, and I mean, it wasn't that much, but and then that way you can also hear me clearly too. But yes, they did mute me quite a bit and over talked. That's why I wanted to do this too. Anyways, let's go to this video that I have prepared for you guys, and I'm gonna do short commentary every now and then. I'm gonna mostly let you guys listen to the conversation, but I'm gonna do commentary where I think I didn't explain myself enough, where I didn't have time to explain what I was trying to say at that point or in that argument. So let's get on to the video. Let's watch this. And you guys leave the comments down below to see what, I mean, maybe I could have been wrong or they were right, whatever. I don't care. I won't delete your comments. I'm not like that. Leave your comment below and just tell me what you think about this conversation that I thought was pretty wholesome. Let's check it out.
We're about to talk to Javia or Yavia. Sorry if I didn't get your name right there. And you would like to perhaps disagree with us. How can we help you this evening?
Hi there. Yeah, it's Javier. And yeah, I mean, I guess we can have an honest disagreement, right? Because one of the things that I used to miss about the atheist experience is that people can call in and disagree and still have a good conversation without over talking anyone, without belittling anyone. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can have a good conversation even though I don't agree with you, right?
Well, it depends what thing you're about to bring. I mean, if you're about to say
just
like,
about anything, though. I mean, I guess.
We can indeed have a conversation about just about anything. I'm not getting too defensive. Just go for it, mate. See how it goes.
All right, yeah. No worries. Well, I mean, here's one thing. Me as an atheist, I've always agreed with Matt and everybody that we have to get rid of church in the schools. Church and state separate them. But for me, what's the difference between showing Jesus in school and transgenderism, which in all reality is a belief?
It is not a belief. Yeah. It is scientifically demonstrable.
Yeah.
So there
that's
go.
the main.
And listen to what this chick said. Her name is Ben, but she's like, "Yeah, no, it's scientifically demonstrable that being transgender is a thing." So there you go. And no, that's not. I mean, if that's how you guys make arguments, that's fucking stupid. That's not how you present an argument in any situation. But here, let me explain that there are people that have dysphoria, that are confused. Yes, I believe you. I 100% believe you. I don't believe that they're women. Like, I don't believe the claim that Ben is making right here. And I'm calling her Ben because, I mean, I don't know if that's a real name or not. But, I mean, a name doesn't make you male or female. But anyways, like I said, I get that there are people that are confused, but they're in no way whatever they claim they are. Ben You in no way can ever impregnate a woman with your semen, because even though you think you're a dude, you can never do it. And it's not me being a dick. It's not me just saying, "Oh, you don't exist." No, you do exist. You're right there. I'm looking at you. But you're not a man. I'm not saying you're not a person. I'm not saying like you're like a ghost, that you don't exist or whatnot. No, that's stupid. I'm just saying, I don't believe when you say that you're a man. You're a woman. You can get impregnated, and you can never impregnate someone. That's how biology works. And I don't hate transgender people, but why the fuck should I go through their dysphoria too? Why the fuck are they so obsessed with me playing along with them because they'll kill themselves? Well, that sounds like a them issue, not a me issue.
That's the main counter argument to this position. We see this quite a lot from like gender critical people and people with like, I don't know how you describe yourself, Javier, but
I'm
like maybe anti-trans
not a gender
views.
critical. I'm sorry. I'm an a-trans person. Like, I'm an atheist. I just don't believe the claim that is being made. So I'm coining that word, a-trans. You heard it first from me. I'm an atheist when it comes to this claim of men claiming to be women or women claiming to be men. I'm an atheist when it comes to this. And I've thought this way for, what, 2 years? I think I put it out in a video like a year ago, I think, where I just don't believe the claim that is being made. And by people calling me transphobic or a bigot because I don't believe them, I mean, that just sounds stupid to a person like me. I'm just like, I mean, you can call me whatever you want. You can call me a fucking racist. You can call me a KKK member, whatever you want. That does not make it true. I just don't believe the claim that you are making. That's it. I'm an A-trans.
Right. So, I mean, I guess there's a few different claims being made here. But a very common argument is like, oh, being trans is like being Christian, or belief in trans people is like belief in Jesus, or whatever. But as Ben says, like, that's a false comparison.
But they never give any arguments. They just say, oh, no, that's not valid. They just dismiss every argument when it's exactly the same thing. And just like any Christian can go from believing in Jesus, he can go then on to believe in Allah or any other religion, right? And transgenders do the same thing too, in the sense that today I'm a woman, today I'm a man, today I'm neither, or today I'm both, or I'm just something different. It's exactly the same thing. It's in your mind. It's only you. You're the one with the problem that wants everybody to live it too.
I mean, there are lots of claims here. I mean, for example, one of the claims could be, as we've been discussing on the show already, is about trans healthcare for adults and for children. Perhaps you could consider those as two separate claims, regardless of whether. And another claim might be whether trans women are women. You know, that's what people get offended about. You could say, I don't accept that trans women are women. And you could then, that doesn't necessarily mean you accept or deny the proposition trans healthcare helps trans people. Like, they're separate claims. And if we were to like go through several different claims,
I'd be more on yours. Yes, I totally agree with you on that one. Like, I honestly believe that people should be left alone and they should be let to do whatever they want to do. I honestly believe that. If you want to be a woman, whatever you want to be, I honestly believe that people should just be the fuck left alone without nobody telling them what to do. Let me clarify that point, because I honestly do believe that if you want to be wrong, you can be a transgender. You can be whatever you want. If you're 18, just like you have to wait till you're, no, never mind, 21. Just like if you have to wait to buy cigarettes and alcohol, you have to wait till be 21. That's how long you should have to wait to take hormones or to do anything with your body so drastically. But
yeah,
it's when, like, if you have dysphoria, that's fine. I don't care. I really don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care if another person believes in Jesus. I really don't. It's that when other people make me believe what they believe. And I mean, there's truth.
But, okay, so hang on a sec. Can we just establish one little difference here between different types of beliefs? There's a few different types of beliefs. If I say, I think Jesus is real, and you're like, I don't, and then I'm like, you have to, then that's me just forcing an unevidenced, or no, not Jesus, like the Christian God. That's me forcing an unevidenced belief on you, and for sure, like, you shouldn't have to like pray to this God that I can't even demonstrate is real. However, if I say like, traffic lights are real, you have to stop at traffic lights, and you're like, fuck you, I don't believe in traffic lights, and then you just run someone over, that is obviously a completely different, like, set of beliefs and situation, because we can show that traffic lights are real,
But I can see
and
the
we can't
traffic
show that
light.
God is real. So when we're talking about,
I can see the traffic
when we're
light.
talking about,
And just like anyone can prove the traffic lights are real, and anyone can disprove God, anyone can also disprove this false belief that you have that you are a woman or that Ben is a man. You can't just up and transition. I mean, you can, like you're doing it here, falsely putting on a disguise to be portrayed as something you're not. But in the end, you're still something you're not. You can put on feathers for all I care. You're not going to be a bird. Doesn't matter how much you say you're a woman, you're never going to be a woman. And this isn't me being hateful. This is me being truthful. I was going to use this analogy for a different video, but fuck it, I'm going to use it here. Let's imagine, let's say a Christian passing laws of blasphemy that you can't talk about not only Jesus, but any other God. Just imagine it that way. Imagine that we pass laws based on blasphemy. Wouldn't that sound fucking stupid? But what if these religious people started claiming, hey, because these other people don't agree with my God, I'm going to kill myself because they are denying the existence by which I live. Doesn't that sound stupid? It does to me.
about like, again, there's lots of different claims here, so I'm going to try and find out which of the thing you're most having a problem with. But if I say to you, like, we're going to teach in schools that some kids are trans, and that's fine, and some of them will need healthcare, and that's fine, and you said, oh, well, I have a problem with that because you're forcing this on my kids, I would say, yes, but this is just based on the evidence. We know trans people exist. We know trans healthcare helps people. We know that denying trans kids this information leads to serious mental health issues. And we know that teaching people this information doesn't lead to converting people into trans or whatever. It's only beneficial. And like, if you don't accept the claims, then you're just in conflict with the evidence. And so that's kind of your problem.
So it's kind of your problem that you don't believe the false claim that I'm making.
But maybe that's not the claim you're having an issue with. Which
Well,
part
no,
are you having issue with?
not at all, not at all. Like I said, I think people should be left alone. I mean,
Yeah.
you have the right to be wrong. Always. That's what I've always.
Yeah.
That's what America
Though I'm
stands
not
for.
wrong.
At least in America. I mean, no, I'm not saying that you're wrong. I mean, I'm saying that you have the right to be. You have the right to believe whatever. I'm not saying that you're wrong. No, that wasn't the case. But I'm saying you have the right to believe whatever you want without forcing anything on kids, right? So here's the thing. As I see it, and as I see it as like I'm on the middle here, because I see everybody on the right and then on the left, and then I see atheists, and then I see Christians, and then, because I get along with everybody, atheists and Christians alike, because I don't care about what people believe, as long, because it has nothing to do with my life, with my family, so it doesn't affect me directly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's in claims where, like, my kid's already autistic. So if you tell him in school that he's I don't know, if you tell him that he's
So-
Spider-Man, he's gonna believe it.
Well,
and if
Well,
it
okay,
gets
hold on,
hard
hold on.
enough,
We're not
he'll
telling.
jump off a
Hold on,
roof.
hold on. Trans people aren't teaching your kid that they are trans.
No,
We're
it's
telling
teachers
people that
doing it,
I
not
am
the other
trans.
kids.
I'm not saying anything about other people. When I say that I'm trans, I'll say, hey, I'm trans. This is my name. These are the pronouns that I use. It is nothing about what you need to be. It's just about what I prefer.
Here's one thing about leftists, that they can't even be honest about the conversations. If we want to have an honest conversation, they have to be honest about what the left is doing too. We all know that these teachers are pushing this transgender agenda onto our kids. They're telling kids such things as like, hey, do you feel different? Are you sure you're a boy? Are you sure you're a girl? I'm there for you. I'm there for you. And it would be the same thing as a preacher doing it too to my kid. Hey, you know, you don't have to be a boy or a girl. It's just creepy. Why the fuck are grown-ups doing this shit? It's creepy as shit. And you guys claim that they're not grooming kids into being transgenders. Yes, you guys are. This is exactly what the teachers are fucking doing. They're converting kids. The teachers can convert kids into whatever they want. They have the power over our kids to make our little kids, little shits, turn them into social justice warrior motherfuckers, little Marxist, useless sons of bitches. They can, and they have been doing it. And you guys are claiming that this is untrue, that this doesn't happen? This is like the Christians and the Catholics not wanting to acknowledge that these preachers, most of them, not all of them, are pedophiles. It's the same thing. They're grooming our kids to be little sex slave workers, to be sexually active when they're little. Kids should not be sexualized. They should do it whenever they feel it. They shouldn't be hearing this shit from a grown-up. Like me, I experimented when I was like 11, 12, or 13. But this was never pushed by any teacher. I knew about sexuality because they taught us about the birds and the bees in school. That was it. This is what happens if you get pregnant. That was it. They didn't go on to any sick rant that, hey, put some butt plugs in your ass. This will make you feel better. No, there's a big difference between showing kink and showing what sexuality actually is, what it's for. Not only what it's for, the pleasures of having sex, but in that realm also teach marriage. Why? Because that would be the best thing for any society, to have more married kids, more married families. In the sense that we would have much less STDs. We have to teach them good values, not bad values. We're going backwards with all this teacher shit. So you guys claiming that this kid grooming isn't going on, isn't working on people like me, because we already know the truth. It is. You can claim it isn't, but it is. I would agree with you if it was that case. I would totally agree with you if it was that case. That isn't the case, though, because we have to agree with everybody on everything when it comes to
okay, hold on.
work. You have
what exactly are trans people trying to persuade you of? Give me a specific example of something that trans people are forcing upon you and your family.
I will. I'll quantify it even more. Like a schizophrenic person that hears voices in their head that would want me to hear those voices too. And if I don't, it would be hateful of me. It's not hateful. It's just that I know those voices aren't true.
Yeah, but,
and
okay.
I know
that's a faulty analogy.
But also,
no,
what happens?
It's the same thing.
Hang on. If I say to you, I'm a schizophrenic Christian who hears voices in my head and you have to hear them too, or you're hateful, and then what happens? Mm-hmm. You say, I don't hear them, and then I'm like, you're hateful, and then you're like, okay.
Well, yeah, then you go and pass laws that say, hey, this person doesn't hear the voices in my head and doesn't want to go along with me. I mean, that's just...
we haven't passed those laws, have we?
Yes.
I mean, can you pick up, rather than picking...
See, this is what amazes me. You hear people like Ben that are like, no, and that's not how it works. So I'm giving clear analogies here to explain the situation, and they're just like, nah, man, that's not how it works.
An analogy. Can you pick like a straightforward example, like Ben was saying? Like, what's the thing?
That was a straightforward
example.
I already gave them analogies, which they dismissed without like any arguments whatsoever, right? So they're like, so now that you've given out a few analogies, hey, can you give a real example? Which I did. Watch. But let's say in school, I'll just give you an example in school. Teachers have to teach biology. This has nothing to do with transgenderism. If a kid is transgender or not, my kid doesn't have to know. And the teacher also doesn't have to be like, hey, this kid is transgender. This is what a transgender is. This, and then my kid's all like, all impressionable.
Facts,
I think I'm transgender too.
So wait, when you say this is what a trans person is, you know, all this kind of stuff, that's just as much fact as saying this is what the liver is, this is what the kidney is. Like, I mean, it's just telling people.
No,
I mean, similarly, I could say this is what a Muslim is, this is what a Christian is. That doesn't mean I'm saying their gods are real. Well, I'm just telling you what the facts are. And I mean, trans
we don't
exist,
teach
right?
anything. Don't believe in all the God shit, right? But this transgender stuff, this is all true. You have to respect people. And you know what? You don't even know, but you might even be transgender. Are you confused? do you hate your parents? Like they just go down through all the, and they're like, yeah, sometimes I like playing. Like they can tell this to my son. My son's gonna be like, yeah, well, sometimes I like playing with dolls. And then sometimes I just like imagining shit that isn't there. And the teacher's gonna be like, oh, you're transgender, for sure. Like, you don't even fit all the way in there. Your brain is totally different. You're transgender 100%. And that's the diagnosis of it. About God, we teach about transgenderism in schools, what it is to be a transgender, the transgender experience. So, and I'm all in favor of respecting everybody. That's the thing. But it's your guys' belief. It's your dysphoria.
Are you worried that me saying, oh, by the way, kids, trans people are real, gay people are real, like, right-handed people are real?
I really don't want my kids knowing what gay is. Oh, I'm sorry. What's
your issue? If I say to you, if you say to your kid, by the way, Javier Jr., left-handed people are real, gay people are real, trans people are real. If you think you're one of them, then come to the front of the class after, and I'll give you some info or whatever.
And this is what, like, yes, confused people are real. It's not like I'm going to tell my kid, yes. I mean, yeah, confused people don't exist. They exist all the time. And it's not only with gender. I mean, it's with voices in their head. It's with different shit. I mean, the fucking washer could be talking to you for all you care. Does that make it real? No. But my kid listening to this in school, yes, of course. It's not that he's going to turn out transgender, but the likelihood of him being transgender, being influenced by all these people around him, normalizing this shit, more than likely, yes, he will be transgender or some sort in that sense, or gay, or they won't let him live a normal life. It's like drugs. If kids don't have access to drugs, they can't use them. They can't be drug addicts. If you don't teach them what drugs are, if you don't put them in front of them, they can't be drug addicts. That's just a fact. So if kids don't know about this gender stuff, and like when I was a kid, I was confused about everything. I had a very low perception of reality that I remember. I wanted to be all sorts of superheroes and shit. So, I mean, yes, you can convince a kid to believe something he isn't. That's why they're innocent. Kids don't give consent to anything. So that's why I say we should only teach them math, science, biology. Anything a person feels is irrelevant. Any sexuality is irrelevant. If that person is homosexual or not, my kid doesn't need to know. If the teacher takes it up the ass or not, my kid doesn't need to know. What the fuck does my kid care about how somebody else fucks? He shouldn't. He's a kid. He should not be sexualized in any way. Once again.
Like, what's the issue? What's the problem here? Are you worried that that'll turn them left-handed, or?
Well, I mean, if you teach a kid in school Jesus, more than likely he's going to believe it. And more than likely, he's going to believe things that a teacher teaches him about Jesus. And so the same with transgenderism. If we leave kids without...
Do you agree there's a difference between me saying, some people are Christians and they believe Jesus is real, and me saying, Jesus is real? They're two different things, right? Because the first one is a fact. Some people are Christians and they do believe Jesus is real. That's just a fact. It's a neutral fact. Mm-hmm. And I would also then say, some people believe in Muhammad and they're, Muslims. But if I started saying God is real, that isn't a fact, because we don't know that, whether it's true or not. Mm-hmm. So I can say factually, some people are trans, whatever that means, and this is what they experience, and blah, 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 blah. Here's a load of facts we have about trans people. That's different to me saying, you are trans, or whatever.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a total difference. When you're in school and you learn about history, you learn about different subjects, and then religions come up depending on where they're learning from, what they believed and whatnot. And so trans can be a thing. Hey, they believe this and this and this. But that doesn't mean that we keep on pushing this kid in school. Hey, do you feel trans? Hey, just accept yourself. No, this is to me just another religious...
Do you feel trans? Like,
schools do it all the time. I mean, this isn't a secret. Schools are doing it all the time. Here in I had to move from Minnesota to Iowa.
If the school says, like, if anyone feels that they might be gay, or they might be trans, or they might be whatever, like, that's cool. We'll support you if you need it. Is that too much for you, or are you saying that? There are schools saying,
not at all. But
kids,
I mean,
are you gay?
No, No, I'm not. I'm married. 6-year-olds don't have sexuality instilled in them until it's instilled in them. I mean, I didn't know what my dick was until I was like 10, 11. No,
You think
no,
sexuality
no.
is
Here's the
instilled?
difference.
You grow into
No,
it.
no, 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 no. When we instill sexuality in classes, hey, look, kids, if you're a boy, you can have anal sex like this, and if you're a girl, you can scissor another woman. And
Who's
this is the
teaching
sick
children?
stuff that should not
Who's
be taught.
teaching young children about anal sex?
I don't have a problem with people saying I am trans in school. If a kid said, I have a problem when the teacher, first of all, when the teachers are teaching the trans shit. Second of all, when a grown full-ass boy walks into a woman's bathroom that identifies as a woman, not only bathrooms, locker rooms, jails, taking scholarships, man. I mean, that's just fucking hideous. Just imagine training all your fucking life at being a woman and being like, you know what? I'm not smart enough, but I know I can get this scholarship. And you're just good enough to pass in first, second, or third place so you can get a full-blown scholarship at any university. But then a dude comes along because he got fourth place and he didn't place to get a scholarship. And all he has to say is like, hey, you know what? I feel like a woman. And then they get the scholarship, leaving the woman out. How the fuck is that fair? They're going above and beyond teaching sexuality. See, if you teach, let's say when teachers teach history, I don't care if they teach about Christopher Columbus, slaves and all that shit. But then if they tell my kid, and you know what? Apart from all that bad shit that happened hundreds of years ago, white people, they are still oppressing you. And my kid, as a Mexican, well, he's American, but he's Mexican in blood, American by birth. He's going to be like, well, these white people are evil. You can instill these false beliefs into kids. And so, like I said, when it comes to teaching history, we can leave it at history without the CRT. When it comes to teaching sexuality, we can teach about natural sexuality without instilling, without bringing up a kink, without bringing up anything that kids don't have to know, that don't have to do with biology. Anal sex isn't natural. I mean, it is because you can do it. You can put it literally in the ear if you want. But that's not what sex is for. The purpose of sex literally is to reproduce in every animal. Obviously, we have fun doing it. And I'm going to clarify this. It should be taught like we see in nature, like we see a nature channel. Oh, they are having sex. They are going to procreate. They should not be putting any of their kinky, spicy shit into the situation. Really? Are you saying that there is no books at all?
How old of children are we talking about? Real quick.
Like 6, 7 years old. There's literally children's books on this. Despite the fact that you believe it or not, this is something. Yes, specifically about anal sex. There was this one book.
Okay, let's just accept that premise briefly. We know that teaching sex education in general, so not just about gay people, but teaching sex education to young kids reduces rates of teen pregnancies, STIs, rape, sexual assault, and all these kinds of things. And maybe that seems counterintuitive to people because you're like, gosh, kids don't know about sex. When you teach them about sex, they're going to go do it. But that's not the case because teaching, sex education involves things like teaching consent and teaching boundaries and teaching, what happens and when you need to be ready for it and all this kind of stuff. So we just know from looking at the data that teaching sex.
No, there's a difference between teaching.
Right.
This is what sex is. This is what can happen if you get teaching sex is one thing. Teaching kids, hey, and then you can go and have anal sex, putting their specific little agenda in there. Why is different types of
sex a problem? Why is scissoring more of a problem to you
first
than
of all, because we're only talking about biological sex, what men and women do. What's the other purpose of teaching kids
scissoring
the other
is biological
different types
sex
of sex?
too, mate.
Scissoring is biological sex, you idiot. The only difference at scissoring is a kink. We don't need to be teaching kids about transgenderism, homosexuality, whatever they decide to do in the future, they can do on their own. We also don't need to be teaching kids about how to use heroin. We also don't need to be teaching kids a whole bunch of shit. How to drink and drive, we shouldn't be teaching kids. So we shouldn't be teaching kids how to have sex. We should let them figure it out on their own. Grown-ups should not be in the business of teaching kids how to fuck, who to fuck, when to fuck. No, that isn't how sexuality works. Just teach them about birds and the bees. That's it. They don't need to know about any other fucking kink.
Yeah, what is
No,
your
yeah, can you
definition
get
of
pregnant, though?
biological? What is
Can you get
what is your
pregnant?
definition
Like
of
a
biological?
man and a woman, that's a whole purpose of life. Procreation.
There's who?
Hold on,
And so,
hold on.
if you
There's
teach-
no
This is-
purpose to
wait,
life.
you're an atheist, mate.
There's
You're
no
an
purpose
atheist.
to
Where's
life.
this purpose?
I am an
Yeah, where's this
atheist.
purpose come from?
I am an
God.
atheist. Well, I mean, just like animals. I mean, a purpose to
But they don't
any
have a
life
purpose
is to
either.
reproduce.
Who says?
No.
Animals, yes. We're animals. We are purposefully made to reproduce.
Made by who?
I hate this fucking question. Made by who? Bitch, we're just biologically destined to reproduce. That is what and it's not coming from a God base. No, not at all. It's coming from a biological sense, from a living standpoint. Every other organism in the world has this in common, that they want to reproduce, that they want to extend their life. That is what sex is mostly based out of. But I mean, I understand that there are animals just like us humans that enjoy sex, not only for the reproduction, but for the fucking art of it. It's fun. I mean, really, it's the best. And I said it on this call. And it's not by God. It's not. What
made
do you
by
mean
who, then?
nature? That's what sex is for.
Was so
Nature.
nature set
That's what
a
sex is for.
purpose? Nature was like, oh, we're going to
sorry?
set the purpose. You must fuck.
No. Nature doesn't say
I don't
anything.
accept
It's
your
a sort
claim
of
that there's a
saying.
purpose.
See, you might not have a purpose to life, but you already mutilated. Probably. I mean, I'm not sure, but you probably already mutilated your dick, and so you might not have that purpose. But 99% of every other animals in this earth, that is a purpose, to reproduce. A family gives you a meaning in life. That's why I think Matt turned out the way he did for not having a family. I think if he would have gotten married and kids in the normal life, he would have thought differently about the issues he's pushing today.
I don't accept your
Well,
claim
it's
that there's
still
a
true
purpose.
though that we have sex.
It's not true.
And
You're
then
making an
we don't have sex and then we procreate.
We can if we want.
Yes,
Those
that's
animals
exactly it.
don't
And
have
if we
sex.
don't, that's where our lenient starts, like where our lineage stops. If we don't have kids, lions do it. Every animal does it
So?
for the same
So?
purpose.
Why do you care about your line finisher? I mean, so what? Everyone's going to
What do
die.
you- I mean, we're
eventually. The
inherently
universe is gonna end
animals.
one day.
You sound just like a religious person. Oh, well, I mean, what's the point? The world's going to end someday, just like Christians. What's the point? I mean, this life is good, but the next life is going to be better. The fuck, dude? I mean, aren't you a humanist if that's what you call yourself? We're supposed to want to live better we're supposed to want to live a better future for the sake of everybody else. And us participating in your lunacy just doesn't seem to work. If you people, you know what? I'm all in for transgenders being taught in school, just like Christians are being taught in school. In a charter school, in a private school. If you guys want to teach this transgender shit in a private school, like Christians do, like Muslims do, go all at it. But keep it out of the public schools. Let's leave them secular. Let's leave all religions aside, left and right religions. We derive every single thing that we have from every other animal. The moment that we move on to thinking that we're not animals, we go outside of the line of what we are, we fail.
What does
but
that
you
mean?
I mean,
forget-
look at every
you
other...
How
forget
can
something
humans
here,
go out
too.
what they are?
No, but think about
I'm
this.
sorry?
Even if you want to take the biological approach with animals and their need to proliferate, you have, especially humans are very social species, and so are many other
Yeah.
species. And it's not just this pair needs to reproduce. It's that species needs to be around. So that could include an entire group of that animal that then at least some of them need to survive long enough to reproduce. But that doesn't mean that every single individual needs to reproduce. It's just that species needs to reproduce. And when I
And
say
loads of
needs,
animals
I'm
have
not
gay
saying
sex.
that is in... There's no motive here.
There is no motive to life. You look for your own purpose, and I agree with it. But I also see that happy kids come from having two parents. And so when you take away the sex from the relationship, that's what you're taking away from kids. Isn't an opinion that I think around 75% of people incarcerated come from broken homes. It's a fact. And so I think we have to look at that. And we have to reunite families. I know Marxists like you people want to destroy the family unit and want to get rid of property and want to just live in a utopia where you're getting everything from the government for free. But that's not how it works for people like me. I actually want to live and work. I actually want to have my own family. But in order for that, I have to follow a set of rules. And I don't cheat on my wife. My wife doesn't cheat on me. We have an exclusive relationship, not only for the sake of STDs and all that stuff, but as far as we know, that's how kids are raised better in a two-family household. And so once you start taking that out of question, well, I mean, we're basically just animals fucking. Look at how black people do it. They have kids out of wedlock so much, and they're the ones responsible for most of the crime. Do you think that's just a coincidence? It isn't. It isn't a coincidence. And this is what I tried to say, that even though I'm an atheist, we have a purpose. And when we step out of line from this purpose, we have chaos. Chaos is what we have in the USA today, with all this transgender bullshit, with all this wanting to destroy the family, the nuclear family bullshit that Black Lives Matter and every atheist Marxist organization tries to push on us.
It's just,
Yeah.
in order for the line to continue, yes, you'd have to reproduce, but there's no need for
There's no
species
ought
to be around.
Why should
We've had
why
plenty
should
of
the line
species that go extinct, and that just happens.
So
It
what?
happens.
Yeah.
Yes, it happens.
I mean, you're
But
adding
going
a purpose
extinct
here
isn't
that doesn't
good.
exist.
I didn't add anything. The only purpose to life is to reproduce with every other animal. I mean, you want to or not, that's fine. You can live a life without reproducing, and then you'll just die off in the wind, and nobody's gonna remember you. You're gonna live sad and alone, and that's just fucking miserable. But yes, we do have a purpose. Our purpose, me as a man, my purpose is to take care of my family, my wife, my kids. That's my purpose. Yes, go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to
Sorry,
cut
I'm
you
just
off.
saying that, like, there's a what happens. Like, we can just observe what happens, but you're attributing some kind of intention to it. You're saying this is what ought to happen. What ought to happen is animals should reproduce. Animals should carry their family lines on, and I just
We
don't
live to
agree with
live.
that. I don't see that there's any evidence for anything saying that that's what should
Well,
happen. It's just
we-
what does happen.
That's what reproduction is for, and that's what our bodies do, reproduce whenever we have sex with the opposite sex, not with the same sex.
Yeah, but we have a
with the
sexuality
Not
too.
always.
That's part of humans. We know for a fact
Yes.
humans have a sexual orientation.
I get
and
this.
so some humans,
Yes.
they like to have
You
straight
can-
sex,
you can
and
be
some don't.
attracted- Ah.
That's just a fact. That's an observable fact of not just humans. Like, there are gay penguins, there are gay lions. Like, loads of animals have gay members. Or
I
some,
find it
like, there's a
strange
little
that
beetle
when it comes to
which can't even
comparing,
tell which sex it's about to have sex with. Like, half
I
Hold
can
on,
tell
I have a
what
question
sex
for you.
people are.
yeah.
I have a question
Yes.
for you, Javier. Do you believe
Yes.
that sex for enjoyment should not happen? Do you think people should only have sex with the goal of reproducing?
Of course, people should have sex. It's great. It is the best thing ever. But then when you have sex with a whole bunch of people, that's what STDs.
No, but okay,
Tend
no.
to happen.
Let's take this to one small example. Let's take.
And you know what? Even though this dude disagrees with me, I kind of like how he's laughing at me, with the points I'm making, because he knows I'm making really good points. But not only that, he's not coming from a horrible place when he's telling you his truth, but his truth doesn't mean it's reality. And I can empathize with him, and I can even get along with him. I wouldn't have an issue. It's just that I don't believe the claim, just that specific claim that he's a woman. I just don't believe it. That's it. Other than that, we can get along just fine. But I just found it kind of strange and funny that even though we disagree so much, he's laughing. We're having a good time. And just to show you how even in a disagreement, because he's not laughing directly at me, he's laughing at what I'm saying. And so even in a disagreement, we can both laugh and have a good time. And this is what it should be all about. I mean, I might talk shit about anyone, and I might come out as really aggressive, but I'm not. It just pisses me. Like the videos I do come out as aggressive, but I'm really not. But like I said, it just pisses me off when people try to instill this shit into kids. That's when I lose it. I mean, just because I go off on a video doesn't mean that a one-on-one conversation can't be like this. It's like I would have had this same conversation like this with Matt Dillahunty if he wouldn't have pussied out. I would have been like I would have been a little bit more obnoxious and more straightforward than with these guys. But I mean, kind of the same, respectfully. We can all do it. We have to learn to disagree. Even if the other person is right, we have to learn to disagree.
A heterosexual cisgender couple who have the ability to both either get pregnant or get the other person pregnant. You have people that could do that. And let's say they want to just have sex. They're not ready to have a baby yet, but they're going to have sex. Should they not have sex because they're not wanting to have a baby at that time?
I have sex all the time. It's great. It has nothing to do with like having my kids, but that's the process.
So sex doesn't need to be for reproducing. You can have sex just for fun.
Yes, with your partner.
That's what gay people do.
Yeah. Okay.
Gay people have sex too. There's nothing wrong with that, right? The only thing is that where I have an issue. I mean, in the gay community, I don't remember what the exact number was, but I think out of 100% of the people that have AIDS in the world, somewhere around 80% is attributed directly towards the LGBT community. So this community by far exceeds every other they have more AIDS than Africa. The LGBT community has more AIDS in their community than all of fucking Africa. Can you believe that? But here's the thing. So that movement, the LGBT movement, isn't about love. It's about sex.
Great. I agree with you there.
Problem solved.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
So now we know that you
But that
can
wasn't
have
the issue, though.
sex for pleasure
The
as well
issue
as
is that
sex
we're
for
teaching kids.
procreation.
Yeah,
Then we can say that, well,
that wasn't
actually,
the issue, though.
hang on. We actually know that
Okay, sorry.
99% of all sex is for pleasure rather than procreation, or probably 99.9%. And we want to teach people how to do it safely because, like you say, if you have sex with loads of different people and it's unprotected and you don't know what you're doing, you'll get an STD. So we look at the data and we're like, how do we reduce STD rates in the population in our country?
Promoting marriage, promoting being faithful, promoting being with one person. We will avoid it completely, but that would be the best way for us to get rid of a thing like STDs. Promoting marriage. Marriage is such a beautiful thing. I don't know why people don't like it. I don't know why people think it's hard. It's fucking easy. Just go to work, make a whole bunch of money, keep your wife happy, keep your kids happy, and that's it. That's so simple to live by. But everybody makes it so fucking difficult.
Well, if we do sex education early, then the STD rates go down, and the amount of teen pregnancies go down, and the amount of rapes go down. So therefore, it's good to teach people about sex early.
So that's the case. We've been teaching sex education for past 50 years, 70 years, I don't know, here in the U.S. Do you think pregnancies have gone down? No, they've gone up. Out of wedlock kids have gone up since this feminism liberating shit, whatever you guys want to call it. It's gone up, not down. So by teaching them this shit, it just shows you that the more they are exposed to something, the more that they will do it. Like in TV and music today, everybody wants to be a gangster. Everybody wants to be anything but a good person and a worker, right? They want to do all this bad shit, sell drugs and shit. And so who are these people that sell drugs and do all this shit taking the influence from? Apart from the people, from the homies around the hood and all that shit? Well, like the music, like their artists, like their idols. They idolize these people that do such wrongdoings, and that's how they tend to be, unfortunately. That's how a society works. So if we promote good doing, most likely we're going to do good. But we're promoting wrongdoing. We're promoting stupid shit like transgenderism.
And then we could say, well, we're teaching about sex for pleasure here, so obviously we should teach about all of them to make all of them safe, because gay people can get STDs too.
Gay people get STDs even more because they tend to be more promiscuous. So no, the answer isn't teaching, hey, you can stuff a fucking chainsaw up your ass when it's lit. No. We should just be teaching. Men, women, have kids, you can get pregnant. That's it. That's biological sex. Anything else, like I said, is a fucking kink we shouldn't be listening to. It shouldn't be taught.
So we need to reduce their rates too. So obviously we teach about it, and then we could look at the concerns, and we could say, what are people concerned about? Maybe they're worried that if we teach about gay sex in schools, then kids will turn gay. Firstly, I don't care. But secondly, that's just not true. And we know for a fact that that doesn't happen.
I do care. I do care that when you teach kids, they can be a woman. They can... Kids are just impressionable. What the fuck? What is that not to understand about it? Kids are impressionable. You can teach them whatever they want, and you will have them in your hands. You can teach them about Allah, Jesus, whatever stupid shit, and they will believe it. And so... but if you don't care that our kids are going to be gay, that they're going to be taught this shit in school, I do. I have kids. I don't want my kids under the supervision of a child predator telling them, you know what? You can be the sex you want to be today, and let me show you how to butt fuck. Let me show you how to insert a butt plug in your ass. I won't do it physically, but I'll do it with this mold. So that way, if you ever get curious, you might want to try it. It feels good. I've tried it, so it feels good. No, you sick sons of bitches. This is not what we want for our kids.
So
yes, it does.
It absolutely does
it
not
completely
happen.
does. It completely does. When a person... No, yes, it does. Here's one good example. I mean, do you think really the artist and the music... You really don't let me talk now, don't you?
Could I convince you to be gay?
No, because I'm already set. It's little kids that can be convinced of anything. You can't convince me of anything. You can convince my son of everything. Everything. Not me, though, because my mind is already established.
How come that there are countries where being gay is illegal and they only teach about straight people?
But I'm not talking about being... No. That's I don't care about that, because I am totally fine with... Hold on, because you have to let me make my points too. I let you guys talk, and I try not to talk over you. Right? I mean, because I'm not talking about it being illegal to be gay. I am not saying that. I said... I specifically said, I want people to be what they want to be. Yeah, it's when you try to teach my kid to be gay where I have an issue with.
So what I'm saying,
or to be a drug addict, or to be bulimic. Yes.
What I'm saying, Javier, is there are some countries which teach every single kid to be straight, and yet some of them turn out gay. So obviously there are some people you cannot teach the sexuality, right? Do you agree with that?
Some kids do turn out gay. I agree with you. But more kids turn out gay in this country than in any other country. And guess why? Because we're teaching this shit in school. We're normalizing this shit. That's why we have a bigger problem in the LGBTQ and then blah, 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 WXYZ and the alphabet people. That's why we have a bigger problem than any other country. The third world countries don't even know what transgender... I was trying to make this point later on, but the call got cut off. They had to move to another caller. And I was going to make this point. There's no transgenders in Africa. This is a first world country that people like Simone de Beauvoir, this fucking pedophile, brought up that a woman isn't born but made. This stupid idea. In these first world countries, this is only a problem in these first world countries. But like I said, if this existed everywhere, I would get it. I'd be like, hey, it's a thing. But no, this only exists where people learn about it. And like, if you go to third world countries, yes, there are gay people, but there are no women pretending to be men. And there might be a few every once in a while, really, really confused people, but that isn't the majority. You don't see people in Africa being trans all the time, or in China, or in Japan. No, this is specifically to the West.
Right? Do you agree with that?
I do agree with that.
Okay.
You can be confused. You can also have a trauma.
So why is it okay? Why is it okay to teach straight kids to be straight?
Let me explain this. I can explain this simply. I have 3 cousins that are transgender. All 3 of them have one thing in common. They were all touched or raped by another person when they were kids. All 3 of them.
Right. I don't
want to go down this road.
Yeah.
I don't want to go down this road.
No, but
I have
this
not
is an
experienced
issue.
any of that, and I'm
this
trans.
is an issue.
Yeah.
this is an issue, though. Yes, but I have 3 cousins. That's in one family. And that's anecdotal right there. See, right? They dismiss my anecdotal evidence, and he's like, well, and she's like, well, because I didn't experience this and I'm trans. Well, no, but I mean, 3 people, really? One family? And they're not direct cousins of mine. They're direct cousins of my wife, but I see them as cousins as well. And I don't give them shit or anything, but I mean, could that be something of a thing right there? That people being touched maybe get more confused, and that's why we have more homosexuality. And within the Catholic Church too, I mean, you see it with them too. You see how these little kids turn out gay because these preachers fucking them. And that's sick. And just like I don't think Catholic preachers should be able to have access to little kids, neither do I think that gender critical teachers should have access to our kids either. 3, and I don't hate them. No, they went through a trauma that we should help them get over. But
You know what else is consistent with those 3 people in your family? They're
What?
related. They share DNA.
My wife shares DNA with them too. That doesn't mean my wife is trans. That has nothing to do. It's a trauma that they specifically went through.
They share DNA.
Also,
Oh, yes, of
we're
course, that's
pointing
what
out that
I'm saying.
LGBT youth are more likely to be sexually assaulted because we don't teach about it in schools, and so they're more likely to be vulnerable to these horrible
Yes,
situations.
but
When you make
more
it hard
likely
for
than
kids
not,
to come
an
out,
LGBT
they
person
go
is
to
going to
adults
have a
that they
trauma, a
think,
physical trauma.
yeah, but this just isn't what the science shows. What the science shows is
Yes.
that LGBT kids are more desperate because they don't get the validation and support from the adults in their life. So they turn to people who they think are giving them support, and they're more likely to be sexually assaulted.
So what he's saying is that, well, our LGBT kids are assaulted, so therefore we need this sexually explicit content taught to our kids in schools. No, not at all. These kids weren't LGBT before they were raped. They were raped and then went to that side. That's when the trauma started. That's when the confusion started. So that's when it naturally happened. It wasn't the other way around. They weren't gay, then molested. No, they were molested, then went gay, then went transgender.
And in places that don't teach sex education for LGBT kids are more likely to be sexually assaulted. That's just
So my
observed.
cousins weren't trans until they were raped. It didn't happen the other way around. And they went from gay.
That does. How do you
to-
know? I mean, like these feelings start very
Because
early.
they told
It's
me.
very hard to
Because
tell.
they
Maybe
told
they didn't
me.
feel they
They've-
could come
they've
out to you.
expressed this.
I don't think that you can make that
They've told me
assertion
this.
without talking to them.
No.
Um,
They have told me this. I'm not making anything. This is what comes out of their mouth.
I am
And most
unconvinced.
and
Even
they've
if
told
this
me
was
too.
true, even if this was true, you had a very unlikely scenario, which I'm not convinced of. Even if that was true, that wouldn't be evidence of the wider population, and we can just look at the statistics. The plural of anecdote is anecdotes, not data, and we have data on this, and we can see about what I'm saying about sex education for LGBT people reducing rates of sexual assault. We know for a fact that you can't turn people gay or turn people straight. You can't turn people trans.
Yes, you
can't
can.
turn people
Yes, you
cis.
definitely can. Yes, you
We
can.
know you can't because
Yes, you
every
can.
single
That is a
medical
fact.
organization disagrees with you.
This is what I hate about people. Well, medical organizations say this and this. Like, fuck. I saw this on my own. I had a couple of friends back in middle school, high school, around that area. I was in Mexico. And one of my younger friends, I was 14 or 15, and my other friend was about 16, I think. And we were drinking one day, and no bullshit, he was molested by an older friend that was about 45 at the time. And that kid, my friend, was never gay before that. He had girlfriends and all, but he got introduced to the gayness by an older grooming man. So yes, you can convert someone to being gay. My buddy was totally straight. He never even thought about it. He was like, God damn. But it was a predator that convinced him to be otherwise.
I mean, unless you know more than them,
Do you
maybe
see
you can
any
go give them
trans
some
people in
evidence.
Africa?
Do you want to give?
There
Do you want to
isn't.
have a medical
There is
debate
no
with me
trans
right now,
people.
or is it really where you want to
Yes,
go?
I will.
I think,
Hold on.
I think
Yes, I
maybe
will.
we
I would have had a medical debate with her any day. Because it isn't science. Just like when Christians claim that God is, or religion is science, and that the Bible has a whole bunch of science. It's just not true. It's just not true. And I'll have that debate with the doctor any day. I don't care how confused people think they are. They're not what they claim they are. That's all I'm saying. Anything else, I mean, it's all up for debate. But that specific claim, I just don't believe them. And it's not true. Any animal in the kingdom, any woman, any female animal in the animal kingdom could get pregnant. Some can't, but most will. No trans women ever in history will ever get pregnant. Not in the sense how we do it naturally. I mean, maybe science will someday invent some sick invention to get kids into bodies, into men bodies, and do some shit. Yeah, maybe someday they'll do some shit like that. But that's not how we reproduce. As much as you want, that's not what you are.
Should move on because we've been on.
Hold on.
We've done a bit of a loop here. I hope you felt like this has been a good call. We didn't shout. I know I talked over you, but I wanted to just get my points across to the audience. If you would like to call back, we'd totally have
I will,
you.
and thank you very
this
much.
has been a good discussion. Sorry to cut you off.
Yes,
it's just because we've been on for 24 minutes. Yeah, thanks
I'll call you.
staying
I'll
calm.
call you guys back next week, and then we can. Yeah, thank you very much for having this good
in the
discussion.
meantime,
I thought it was really good.
Wicked.
Thank
In
you.
the meantime, call into one of the atheist shows and tell them the purpose of life is to reproduce and see how they handle that. Yeah, anyway,
Well,
thank you very
Matt
much.
won't handle it really good, but yeah, I get it. Yeah, no,
Right.
you guys
That
take
was,
care.
that
You
was
guys
a
have a
good
good one.
call to start off. Sorry it went on a little bit long, everyone, but that was. I wasn't sure if that was where it was going, but that is where it was going, and yeah, good
See,
stuff.
And I'll call into any show and I'll talk to anybody, even if I'm wrong. Even if I'm wrong, I'm willing to talk to anybody. I mean, it's not your purpose, maybe, of life to reproduce, but the purpose of life, not your life. The purpose of life is to reproduce. I'm not saying yours. I'm saying of life. Anyways, that was the end of it, guys. Let me know in the comments what you think about this. Give it a like, a thumbs up, a thumbs down. I really don't care if other people disagree with me or not. I kind of like it. I kind of like talking with people that disagree with me instead of people that do agree with me. Anyways, like I said, leave a like, comment, subscribe, share this video too. And you guys have a good one. Take care. See you guys later.